Hello and welcome to 502 Sessions. I'm Brian Kirby. My guest today is the bluegrass quartet Local Freight. Local Freight has performed at numerous events and venues, including Bluegrass on the Bogs, the Blue Moon Coffeehouse, the Ocean State Oyster Festival, the Rosecliff Mansion, and Bluegrass on the Pawtuxet. They've also performed for fundraisers at Historic New England and the Stoneham Theatre, and they are regular guests at Nick-A-Nee's Bluegrass Throedown in Providence, Rhode Island. Local Freight is John Tibert on mandolin and vocals, Rich Piccarreto on guitar and vocals, Brian Prindle on banjo, and Lynne Fountain on bass and vocals. Local Freight.
Suits my mood. The sky is gray and I'm blue. I could go out and be with friends, but I just think I might stay and get ready for a storm of tears and brace myself as it gets near. I'll hold up alone until it ends, until the sun comes out again. Wash away this heartache that I feel today. But for now I'm gone feeling blue and rely on what I always do. I'll hold up alone until it ends, until the sun comes out again. Till it ends, until the sun comes out again. Well, I wake up in the morning, take my truck on into town, work my fingers to the bone in time to turn around. As I drive to the setting sun, you'll see me start to grin, thinking about my cabin home, my sweetheart there within. Now I can see the wood smoke rise, I'm coming down the hill. The moon's bathed all in blue, the tall pines so still. The stars are all reflecting in the mirror on the pond. I will ask the nighttime who there's no one else around. And if you need to find me, you know just where I'll be. About a mile down the dirt road and back amongst the trees. You can't take the forest from the land, but not the woods from me. Living in the country is the way it's supposed to be. Living in the country is the way it's supposed to be. Stepping into candlelight, a sparkle in her eye. She says we're having chicken stew, sweet corn, and apple pie. boots off by the wood stove, feet up by the fire. She's my darling of the woods, my love, my desire. And if you need to find us, you know just where we'll be. About a mile down the dirt road and back amongst the trees. People think we're crazy 'cause we don't watch TV. Living in the country is the way it's supposed to be. Living in the country is the way it's supposed to be. Time is over, don't put me in the ground. Take my box of ashes and spread them all around. Some out by the wood pile, some out by the barn. Wind that whispers through the trees will tell you where I've gone. And if you need to find me, you know just where I'll be. About a mile down the dirt road and back amongst the trees. Folks in the big city will never truly see that living in the country is the way it's supposed to be. Living in the country is the way it's supposed to be. I'm living on the line, close to the edge, not far from the breaking point of this brittle rocky ledge. I didn't used to live here, now I spend my time not far from the breaking point, living on the line. Well, this ain't no kind of living, most times I feel like dying, though I continue laughing to keep myself from crying, but I cannot shake this feeling, it's with me all the time, not far from the breaking point, living on the line. I'm living on the line, close to the edge, not far from the breaking point of this brittle rocky ledge. I didn't used to live here, now I spend my time not far from the breaking point, living on the line. To help me move away, but until that time it seems that I'm forever gonna stay. Tip in one direction would start by steep decline, not far from the breaking point, living on the line. I'm living on the line, close to the edge, not far from the breaking point of this brittle rocky ledge. I didn't used to live here, now I spend my time not far from the breaking point, living on the line. Well, I'm living on the line, close to the edge, not far from the breaking point of this brittle rocky ledge. I didn't used to live here, now I spend my time not far from the breaking point, living on the line.
.502 Sessions. I'm here with Local Freight, Bluegrass Quartet Local Freight, and they have selected John Tibert to speak for the group today. Is this how it works on stage?
Usually, yeah.
Oh, no kidding?
Yep.
Oh, all right. So you are the spokesperson, the leader, you formed the group?
Coordinator, spokesperson, yep. All that, many hats.
And talk to me about the songs that you just wrote. Well, before we do that, let's talk about the band a little bit. So where are you from?
Well, I'm from the Worcester area, Shrewsbury, and Brian is from Cambridge.
Brian
Lynne is
Prindle
from-
on banjo?
Yep, Brian Prindle on banjo. Lynne Fountain on bass is from Stowe, Massachusetts, and also Rich Piccarreto is from Stowe.
Interesting, because when I read some of your bio information, it seems like many of your venues and performances are south of here.
Yeah, we do pretty well in Rhode Island. They like us down there, so we'll go there anytime.
Is that just your band, or is there a big bluegrass scene?
I think there's a good culture down there, bluegrass culture down there.
But Bluegrass on the Bogs, I mentioned that, that's in Massachusetts, of
That's
course.
in Massachusetts, yeah.
Bluegrass on the Pawtuxet is?
Is Rhode Island.
Okay. Wow. So you guys do get around then. Have you been up to Maine to the Thomas Point?
Only as friends and campers. That's what we do. We go up to Maine and then we'll do a festival up there. Just not to play it, but just to hang out and be amongst our people.
And so personally yourself, how long have you been playing mandolin?
Forever. I couldn't count it. Maybe over 20 years.
Okay, so
20,
not as a
30
kid
years.
though then.
I
You're
think
not
it's-
32, right?
No, I'm not 32. No.
28?
Keep going. No, I've been playing since I was 14. I didn't start mandolin until I was probably 20.
So you played guitar?
Guitar, yeah.
And was bluegrass your first
Yeah,
choice?
it switched back and forth from bluegrass to blues, which there's not a whole lot of difference in the format of the songs, but the tempos are different.
And the chord progressions are similar,
Are
but
similar.
the style
One,
is...
4, 5, that sort of thing. If you're counting numerical value, but they're pretty much the same changes and things.
And did you come from a musical family, or?
No, not at all. Well, my parents would casually play piano, but none professional musicians or anything like that.
And do you pick this up by ear? Or
Yeah. My brother had a guitar once. My parents signed him up for guitar lessons, and he kind of quit it. And it was an old Sears and Roebuck guitar where
those are the best.
You could actually put your finger
Yeah, right.
through the action. And
What were those little amps they used to have too? They used to have the whole I mean, gosh.
well, this was acoustic.
Okay,
and
that's
so
even
it
worse.
was all plywood and just a bear to play. Of course, I didn't know that at the time, but I had a music book, and I would use the chord diagrams to strum along with the songs, and that's how it all began.
And the singing voice, have you?
That's developed over time. No one starts out singing, I guess. At least I didn't.
So that was natural for you. You were able to sing as you started. You picked it out by yourself. You
Yeah,
took
I
lessons?
would sing along to what I was playing.
And nobody complained, so you knew. You were okay?
No. I tend to try to be quiet about that and shy, but more recently I've gotten out in front of a microphone, and it's natural now.
Well, I hope so, because these tunes, a lot of them you wrote.
These
correct?
are my tunes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And Rich also is a songwriter in the band.
And when you started with the blues, was it acoustic blues, or you listened to a lot?
Yeah, acoustic blues. But Chicago blues, and I tried to mock it on the acoustic guitar, which really didn't work all that well. But I would switch back and forth.
And so then what drew you to bluegrass?
I always liked it, really. Anytime I heard acoustic music, that's where my heart went, really. I liked it a lot. I think Jim Croce was one of the first albums I've ever had, when I was young.
And then in order to play professionally, going from picking up a Sears and Roebuck guitar and blues and moving to mandolin and bluegrass, where's that end?
Oh, well, the mandolin's it's kind of a funny story, because in my early 20s, I would play with another friend of mine, and we both played guitar, and we'd sit up in his attic and stay up until the wee hours. But he had an old mandolin, a Francescan mandolin, I think it was called, or Franciscan, and it was a cheap $90 mandolin. But he picked it a little bit and didn't really. And I said I wanted to do some tunes, so I said, could I take it home and I'll learn it and then I'll show it to you.
Oh.
But I ended up liking the instrument anyway, so I kept stuck with it.
Oh, and so the rest of the band, though, they weren't your neighbors. You didn't form a band.
No, we didn't meet until probably mid-2000s. Is that right? Yeah.
And
probably.
so you have the mandolin. You taught yourself how to play. When do you decide to say, okay, I'm going to go out there and go?
Oh,
to
well, there is some sort of protocol. You go to local jam sessions where bluegrass music is highlighted, and you go to these bluegrass jams, and you stay on the outer fringe, and you eventually, if someone notices that you can play, or you get your chops ready, and you kind of get to the inner circle, and that's the progression usually. natural progression of that sort of music.
So it's an open session, and you can teach yourself
Yeah.
a few tunes, and
Yep.
when they yell out, we're going to play foot stomping.
Oh,
at
you're
the-
on your own.
Oh, you just go up and you don't know the tune
I
till you
mean, no, when they call you up, it's every man for themselves. If you can play along, then you play along. If you can't, then you hold back a little bit.
Oh, all right. And is that generally the experience you've all had with the bluegrass? I'll talk to you a little bit about your development personally, but okay. And so then how did the band form? Through these sessions? Or is this your first band?
No, no, not at all. And I don't think it's any of our first bands. No, we became friends just connecting and networking at festivals, and going from campsite to campsite, you meet people, and I met Rich and Lynne, and I met Brian also.
So at these, like the Bluegrass on the Bogs or the main Thomas Point.
Yeah,
right, that
anywhere
people-
there's a bluegrass festival, there's a parking lot picking or campsite picking, and people get together and friendships are made, and that's how this started.
So when you go to the festivals, before you meet people, you go in another band? Or you would...
No, not to play the festival.
I understand that, but
just
your
to
whole
be an
band would
audience
go
member.
up there, or you could go on your own?
We just hang out and camp and pick by the campfire.
Oh, all right. And so I'm envisioning hundreds of these little picking parties at these festivals.
No,
so how do you...
No, there are competing campsites that are constantly going. So you have to listen to that in the fray and play your own music or play tunes that you guys want to play, any tunes that people know.
Or if there's something more happening, you can...
Yep, you can opt out.
Slyly sneak out of the one you're in and back into
It happens.
and go into another one.
Yeah.
And so that's how you met everybody here.
Yeah.
You all met that way through these picking parties at festivals.
It's a great culture.
Wow. And so to form this band, did you all leave bands and say, let's form a new band? How does the transition...
No, we have a pretty open policy about multiple bands. I'm in a couple bands. Rich is in a couple bands. Lynne has been in a couple bands. Brian is a hired gun. He'll be in any band you want him to be in.
I can especially imagine as a bass player that you're in a vocalizer.
She's much sought after as a bass player.
All right, we'll talk about the music next time. We got sidetracked on the band here, so let me hear some more music, and then we'll talk about writing and everything.
Great.
Thank you. Local Freight on 502 Sessions. John Tibert, mandolin, Brian Prindle on banjo, Lynne Fountain on bass, and Rich Piccarreto on guitar.
Find someone who will love me for who I am. It's been so wrong to go so long, not to be another's darling loving man. I had a wife I'm leaving a lifetime. Many years ago she said that we were through. So if I'm not quick to just jump right into, it doesn't mean I don't want to try with you. I'm hoping someday that I'll find someone who will love me for who I am. It's been so wrong to go so long, not to be another's darling loving man. When I first met you, thought I could let you get inside and know me in time. I was unsure of the kind of your love. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. But you went so fast, you didn't let it last, and the end had caught me by surprise. Now you say you miss me, but how could this be? It didn't show when I last looked into your eyes. I'm hoping someday that I'll find someone who will love me for who I am. It's been so wrong to go so long, not to be another's darling loving man. I'm hoping someday that I'll find someone who will love me for who I am. It's been so wrong to go so long, not to be another's darling loving man. It's been so wrong to go so long, not to be another's darling loving man.
can't break a heart already broke. There's nothing you can say that ain't been spoke. I've been through it all before. You're not the first one
break a heart already broke. You thought you'd play your little games with me, and how it all would end was plain to see. You see, I got this little rule, I ain't nobody's fool. You can't break a heart already broke. You can't break a heart already broke. There's nothing you can say that ain't been spoke. I've been through it all before, you're not the first one out my door. You can't break a heart already broke. You said all of the words I like to hear. You even made them sound somewhat sincere. But honey, I already knew you were too good to be true. You can't break a heart already broke. You can't break a heart already broke. There's nothing you can say that ain't been spoke. I've been through it all before, you're not the first one out my door. You can't break a heart already broke. Break a heart already broke. There's nothing you can say that ain't been spoke. I've been through it all before, you're not the first one out my door. You can't break a heart already broke. You hold tight, and I'll be your whiskey tonight. I ain't no stranger to that old bar stool. I sat right there and had myself a few. Oh girl, I can see it in your eyes. Lonely isn't something you can hide, and I'll be your whiskey tonight. Let go of all those memories that you cannot fight, and loosen up your grip on the glass that you hold tight, and I'll be your whiskey tonight. One thing I can tell, it's a lesson that I know all too well, and it's one that ain't too late for you to learn. Whiskey don't do anything but burn, and I'll be your whiskey tonight. Let go of all those memories that you cannot fight, and loosen up your grip on the glass that you hold tight, and I'll be your whiskey tonight. whiskey tonight. Let go of all those memories that you cannot fight, and loosen up your grip on the glass that you hold tight, and I'll be your whiskey tonight.
502 Sessions back with Local Freight and John Tibert. Now I want to talk about the music and the writing. So and I'll go in reverse order. The last song, I'll Be Your Whiskey Tonight, when I read that on the title shot, I was thinking, oh, a ballad. But it's not. It was a happy song. So are these, I guess it was happy. At least the music part of it's happy. The words are kind of tortured in a way.
Yeah, they are.
So do you write from, I guess what I ask people is, what's your inspiration? Are you writing?
Life experience.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So that was a life.
I mean, that was a bit of imaginary, but I've spent like I said in the beginning of that song, it was I am no stranger to that old bar stool, and that's pretty factual. I've sat down a few times.
So these picking parties, they're not all vegetarian sandwiches and bottled water?
Well, the picking parties can be, but no, there's generally some whiskey involved and things like that. But I mean, that one sort of came to me while I was sitting at a bar, and just sort of watching people, interact. And
I'm sure there's no hard and fast rule about this, but do you find that you come up with a story first and then you set that?
No, I write in a box. I'll come up with music and get a melody and try to fit words into that. And then, once you start coming up with some words, then it's going to, it'll play out and fit nicely together. You come up with a theme.
And that came to you as a story, or again, I don't want to get too personal, but we're talking.
No, they're all very personal. They're all mine, and they all come from me, and they all come from experiences I've had. Usually, a breakup or a heartache is great fodder for a tune.
It's good for tunes, it's good for poetry, it's good for painting.
Some people like the happy tunes. I tend to like the sad songs, so I'll write the sad songs.
Yes, you do have some in minor keys, but of course that always gives you a sad emphasis. But interesting about the lyric part of it, you must embellish them, right? It's not, okay, good.
Yeah.
So
it's not.
It's a composite.
Sure, yeah. It's something that's probably happened to me, and yeah, there's some embellishment.
Otherwise, my audience might be thinking, why did this guy kill himself?
Wow, yeah, this poor sorry
What's this guy smiling about?
No, it's kind of cathartic. It gets you out of your funk.
Oh.
That song that we played earlier, Until the Sun Comes Out Again, I was going through a divorce, and sort of occasionally I didn't feel like going out. So I would just stay in, and that's the words reflect that.
When you write a song, you write it in the box, and then you bring it to the group. And do you say, I'm hearing this backup vocal, this harmony?
Yeah, when I write, I hear things. I'll hear an arrangement, and it's like trying to remember a dream and articulate that. So to actually say, here's what I want to do. It may change from session to session, but the basic idea is there. And
even the harmony, no kidding.
Yeah, I always hear harmony. Yeah, and we just have to, Rich and Lynne and I just have to work it out. Who's going to take what part. Generally, I think it's actually reaching a point where if I'm singing leads, they already kind of know what the harmonies are going to be because it's within their realm, within their ranges that they can sing. And
Rich, do you mind stepping forward for a second? Because some of these tunes are yours as well. Maybe we should reverse and you can speak into the mic over there, actually. Is that all right?
Sure.
Do you mind I'll talk to Rich for just a second? But stay there, John, because keep going to the mic.
Right here?
You want me to speak in the mic?
Please, yeah, because you don't have one. So, and John, just step forward for a second, just a little bit there. One more thing I wanted to ask you about the writing. So do you sing lead on all of your songs, or do you sometimes say, I hear Rich on this? Or
that was the Until the Sun Comes Out Again. I couldn't do it. I knew I couldn't sing it in whatever key we chose because of the range of the song. And Rich, so I kind of have an ear for Rich's range. So I said, can you sing this one? And he sang it. It sounds great.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So just because, Rich, you're singing one, that's not one of your...
Right.
But you did write some songs today.
Yeah, we have a couple in the mix today. The Living in the Country was inspired by a move to Stowe and to a cabin on a pond. Made it feel like we were living really far away, kind of removed, which was a really nice feeling. And so that's sort of an amplified, little bit tongue in cheek. It's got a little bit of Beverly Hillbillies in that.
I heard that.
It's really got.
I didn't want to say it, but
It's a little kitschy, but it does express the sentiment of getting away, coming out of the city after work, and really getting back into the country where it's quiet and there's really nobody else around, and just that was the inspiration behind that tune.
And is that your chosen rehearsal space now, your place in Stowe?
It is.
Because,
Yeah.
So, Rich, let me ask you about your writing, because do you bring in, do you hear the harmony for your tunes, or do you let them work it out?
With this music, like John had mentioned before, as soon as you kind of lay down the melody, you start breaking out the 1-4-5, or how you hear the turns on the refrains, and so I can't say I quite hear it when I'm writing just the straight lyric melody, but it comes pretty quickly after, as soon as you share it and you start getting input.
A question for the both of you: have you actually purposefully sat down and say, I want to write a song, or is it always an inspired event where then you say, I have to write this down, or do you sit and say, I'm going to write today?
No, for me it comes from an experience or something that inspires the tune.
Yeah, the same with me. I don't choose the times that a song comes to me. I'll be driving in my work van, and all of a sudden a melody's popped into my head, a cliche line or some sort of idiom or something will come into my head, or a melody, and I'll grab my bill pad and I'll start writing on my bill pad, words down.
For example, I was reading an old edition of Yankee Magazine a few years ago and came upon a story about this Vermont farmer who stubbornly would not leave his farm when I-91 was built in the early 60s, and we're going to sing that song a little bit later. His name was Romaine Tenney, and it was a pretty emotional and moving piece that pushed that tune right out of me, that I really felt I had to write a song about it, and I had never heard of this guy before, but you get up into Vermont and people know who he was, and it was it's a tale of woe for sure, and that's the bluegrass. It gives a lot of expression to pain, as well as just happy tunes. I think there's a lot more dark stuff. We kind of like that stuff.
Yeah,
we like
we'll go for the dark stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear some more music then.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
time. On the road to Mount Scottney, near the Windsor County line. His parents named him Romaine, his neighbors called him kind. Bachelor farmer at the age of 65. The sheriff came a-knocking with an envelope in hand. Said, if you are Romaine Tenney, you've got to understand. Progress as a highway coming right through where we stand. So here's a check for $13,600 for your house and barn and land. There'll be a sign, you'll know it when it comes down exit 8. Off of Highway 91, it points away up on Tenney Hill, where eminent domain met the sheer force of will. He slowly closed his door and wasn't seen for days. Left the sheriff wondering about a mountain farmer's ways. Romaine brought in moving boxes, but set them all ablaze. The farm reduced to ashes, smoldered 7 days. Every living thing on Tenney Farm had been set free, was now grazing by the roadside or roosting in a tree. His neighbors searched the mountain, leaving food along the way. Hoping Romaine Tenney, he had simply walked away. There'll be a sign, you'll know it when it comes down exit 8. Off of Highway 91, it points away up on Tenney Hill, where eminent domain met the sheer force of will.
When opportunity comes knocking, I'm opening that door. Please don't think I mean you any harm. When you find that I am pouring on the charm, you can't say I didn't try when you asking yourself why. You look up and see that I am gone. Life's too short for me to wait, I ain't got time to hang around. I'm getting busy living before I lay this body down. I ain't getting any younger and I know what I'm looking for. When opportunity comes knocking, I'm opening that door. Please just take it slow as you like. This old boy's heading down the pike. I'm in the passing lane and it may sound insane, but honey, you should come along for the ride. Life's too short for me to wait, I ain't got time to hang around. I'm getting busy living before I lay this body down. I ain't getting any younger and I know what I'm looking for. When opportunity comes knocking, I'm opening that door. What ifs and whatever could have been. That's a lonely world I'm never living in. I'm burning up the daylights, oh honey, if it feels right. Open open up your heart, let me in. Life's too short for me to wait, I ain't got time to hang around. I'm getting busy living before I lay this body down. I ain't getting any younger and I know what I'm looking for. When opportunity comes knocking, I'm opening that door. Well, you're passing up a good thing, I'm just telling you the score. When opportunity comes knocking, I'm opening that door.
502 Sessions, my guest today has been the Bluegrass Quartet Local Freight with John Tibert on mandolin and vocals, Rich Piccarreto on guitar and vocals, Lynne Fountain on bass and vocals, and Brian Prindle on banjo, but whom I also understand does vocalize sometimes. 502 Sessions, I thank you. Local Freight, we're all about original music here at 502 Sessions, so if you're a musician or you're in a band with a group of other musicians and you have a lot of original music, don't hesitate to get in contact with me. I'm at 502sessions@gmail.com, and you can now check us out on Facebook. I sometimes post advanced links to shows, and that is 502 Sessions. You can search that on Facebook, or Brian Kirby, Kirby with an E. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and Lynn. Thanks to Dennis Sullivan, Kevin and Evan McNamara on audio, cameras, and all that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, I wake up in the morning, take my truck on into town, work my fingers to the bone in time to turn around. As I drive to the setting sun, you'll see me start to grin, thinking about my cabin home, my sweetheart there within.